Hey, I'd like to welcome everyone to this year's Riding Academy. I've been lucky enough to be using Stableview as my winter training base. Where's Barry? How many years have we been here, Barry? Have I been? 11 years. So for 11 years, I was lucky enough to meet Barry and Cindy, and I bring all my event horses down from Pennsylvania in January and stay for a couple of months, and I use Stableview as sort of our winter training base, and we usually bring a squadron of horses and usually 8 or 9 staff. This place has been awesome for me to sort of prepare the horses for the year. So for the top level horses for January and February, we really use it. The most important thing is that the horses really increase their fitness work. So you might not know it as you only see about a quarter of what Stableview really is. I think there's 2,000 acres here, so our horses can go out for 2 hours non-stop on the trails there, walking and trotting. So at this time of the year, we do a lot of fitness work here, and then I helped design. There's a cross-country schooling sort of section in the back corner there. And then I always ride at Pine Top Horse Trials this weekend and missed this. And I was sort of, at the beginning, I thought, bloody hell, why do they do this eventing academy thing? And it doesn't make any sense. And then the more I think about it, the more I can't tell you how valuable this weekend is. I'm actually participating myself tomorrow. I've got one in the starter and one in the novice. And you'll see a little Japanese guy flying around. He's got one in the sprout division, and then there's 2 or 3 girls that work for me that are in the, I think the beginner novice class. We're utilising it, and it's a really, really interesting concept. Cross country is a really, really challenging endeavour. If you think of the idea of the sport, is you're on a horse, and then the horse doesn't know where it's going, and you're galloping around and it sees all these obstacles, and you're expecting the horse to jump every jump. And to be able to do what they're putting on here at such an amazing facility is incredible. If you think about the Olympic Games, the last Olympic Games was Paris, and Stableview was the final run for every Olympic horse. So that this facility, we had a competition about 4 weeks before the Paris Olympics, and we did the jumping where you guys are doing the jumping, we did the cross country where you guys are doing the cross country, and the show jumping here as well. So to be able to bring the greener horses here and the younger riders, or the greener riders here, and this idea of being able to practice and school the course, to me is so much more beneficial than paying twice the amount of money and hoping for the best at a competition. And for me, cross country, the art of cross country here is it's not a crazy person sport. Does that make sense? This is not a sport where you've got to be mad and aggressive and gung ho, and this is a sport where it's confidence and understanding, and sort of this understanding that you and your horse have a bit of a partnership, and having the ability to go out in the course today and have a look at the fences and show the horses the jumps and maybe school the water jumps. And then I think tomorrow what I'd encourage everyone to do is, I know it's not like an official competition, but we don't actually get to practice this idea of being under the pressure of competition without the benefit of what we all went through, a lot of you went through today. Competition's a really, really hard thing. You've got to basically, you've got 5 minutes for a dressage test, 2 minutes for a show jumping round, and 5 or 6 minutes for the cross country. And, we drive for miles and miles and miles, and we pay all this money, and then it all comes down to that moment, if that makes any sense. And so it's challenging. There's a sort of a mixture of emotions. Everyone feels pressure, everyone feels nerves, the horses get a bit anxious, and so I think tomorrow what I'd encourage everyone to do is try and get into this sort of competition mode and try and sort of ride it like you're at a competition, even though it's obviously not a big time or recognised competition, but you've also got this wonderful advantage of having the confidence that you put into them today. I think this is going to set you up for future success. I think with the cross-country course, I went and had a look around it. I think Mogi designed a really good track. Had a look around the starter and the novice, and I think she's built, it's a proper course. Like they're spooky jumps. There's a lot of fillers and brush, and that she used a bit of the undulating country with down in that backfield. There's a little downhill, bit of an uphill. I think she starts off the course quite nice. I'd recommend everyone in the warm-up to try and get the horses thinking forward. My advice would be I think most of you guys will do the dressage and the show jumping already, so the horse is sort of already pre-warmed up. But in the warm-up for the cross-country, try and get a couple forward fences so that when you leave that start box, the horses are sort of looking at fence 1 like it's almost like fence 10, if that makes any sense. And then obviously we've got that water jump that comes pretty early. My advice there would be to give them a good long approach, and really as you're coming to the fence there, try and show them that there's water, and then make sure they hop through it well. And then you've got a couple of nice galloping fences as we go past the hunt boxes where I live. And then again, it gets quite challenging down the back there with all the different grades. We've got to go down the hill, and there's some mounds and there's some turning questions. And for the novice and beginner novice, you've obviously got the coffin. The training horses, I feel like that coffin's pretty early. I think I looked at it. I'm not in it, thankfully. But fence 4AB is a pretty challenging question. It's early in the course, so you want to make sure the horses are in front of your leg and thinking well. One of the biggest things I'd say to the young riders here, obviously getting involved in sport at a young age is a wonderful teacher. And this sport of competing horses is quite challenging because your teammates are an animal. Animals like humans have good days and bad days. They have different emotions. They get nervous and fired up and excited. And as a young rider, having the ability to do a sport where you're sort of concentrating on the task at hand and sort of figuring out your teammate, if they're with you or if they need encouragement. With the sport of horses is you're going to practice a lot more than you compete, and you're probably going to lose a lot more than you're going to win. It's a humbling sport sometimes, and for me, I've obviously been lucky enough to ride at the very top level of the sport, and it's been a lot of ups and downs and highs and lows, and there's been many competitions where I just drove home disappointed and dusted myself off and rolled my sleeves up and had another crack at the next show. And I think you should measure your success or your happiness not on event to event, but this process and this journey. And there's 380 million people in America, and most of them sit at home and watch TV on a couch. They don't feel pressure. What I've found is that pressure is actually a privilege, and you put yourself in a place where you feel nervous or you feel pressure. Normal citizens don't want to even go there. Does that make sense? I always, before a big competition, I'm like, why the hell do I do this to myself? And then you finish it, you're like, wow, where's the next one? And just keep reminding yourself that we're very, very lucky to be in this sport and to have horses in our life, and to be at a wonderful facility like this, and learning to deal with pressure and feeling the nerves, and also that roller coaster of emotion, of disappointment and setbacks, and then every now and then there's an amazing feeling of success. It's a wonderful thing. And I suppose where I'm going with this is try and enjoy the journey. To me, it's nice to win. The part that I love is the process. When I say the process, it's I was talking to a couple of the riders here that have got a 4-year-old that's just come off the track and it's their first outing, and the one girl I was talking to, the horse is bucking and throwing her around a bit today, and we hope that this time next year when you come back, that horse is a 5-year-old horse and it's settled down a bit, and maybe it's hopefully tackling the next grade up. And this journey of feeling like you're getting somewhere, and you're improving, and your horse is improving, and you're getting a bit of a bond between you and your horse. And I also just want to remind everyone that the rate in which you improve is so minuscule that it's nearly undetectable. Often you work really, really hard, and you practice and you train and you give everything you got, and you're like, damn it, I don't feel like I'm any better. And it's very hard to feel the improvement on a day-to-day. Hopefully you're improving by 0.001% every day, which is it's undetectable. Week to week, it's undetectable. But I mean, I think the big thing is that you sort of think of where you are now and think of it 12 months ago. And you go, hang on, whoa, I'm actually further along than I was this time last year. And I think that's the key. And, and sometimes you're improving and you don't even realize you're improved. To understand that this is a long process. This is the fastest ways to go slow sometimes. This is a great weekend and a great opportunity to work with your horses today and practice. And obviously the conditions were a bit tough today, but guess what? Eventually you're going to be faced in these conditions at a big championship. And so you've got to practice riding in a little bit of a slippery ground, or the ring was maybe a little bit soggy. And this is a great moment to familiarise yourself with things aren't being perfect. So I wish everyone all the luck. I also wanted to say a big thank you to Barry and Cindy. We're at the back here. See that old guy with the blue hat on over there? He's had an amazing career in the corporate world. And usually when you retire from the corporate world, you sit under an umbrella on a beach in Tahiti or something, reading a book. And what he's done in his retirement career here is incredible, and he's an inspiration to me. He's been mega successful, and then he's taken on this project of Stableview and made it one of the most premier events in the world. He hasn't allowed himself to get old, and Barry, you're an inspiration, mate. So anyway, guys, all the best tomorrow. Wishing you the best in the journey. This is, like I said, this is a long road, ups and downs, highs and lows. But remember, we're incredibly lucky to have horses, and I think it's a very, very good exercise coming to the Stableview Eventing Academy. So good luck, guys.